What is your favorite anime?
Mine's Skrillex.
Skrillex.
I'm so distanced from human sensibilities and stuff.
Was getting caught part of your plan?
もちろんだ.
Put your tray tables up and your seat in the full upright position, because this is the Flight Plan, the official podcast of Big Guy for You, Scanlations, Japan's #1 Bane posting manga scanlation podcast. Join the flight crew, Tom and Aidan, as we bantz about all the anime, the manga, and the scanlation content. What are we talking about today? I read that wrong.
Well, today we're talking about end pages, and that could be front end or back end. And
Both ends, yes.
If that doesn't burn enough time, and if we don't tangent enough for another hour, then we might also talk about omake pages. So who knows what we're talking about? It's a mystery to even us.
Hey, you know, when you tune into these podcasts, you know right away the absolute level of quality you're getting is beautiful. And so when you come in and you're like, wow, you see the title and it's like end pages in scanlation or whatever I end up naming it, you're going to look to that and you're going to be like, wow, you know, I'm so pumped up to listen to this on my commute to work that it's not going to matter what we talk about. But today we do have one of the most exciting facets of scanlation, which is, you know, talking about end pages, determining your end pages, typesetting your end pages, making funny memes.
Well, we're not going to get that granular.
Pages.
Oh, yeah, the memes, you know, that's important. But I guess before we get into it, as is tradition, we must first crawl through the corrections corner. Are you ready?
I like that. And sometime
it's something to be endured.
When we finally do get the intern, we'll have somebody do a jingle for it. We'll have a corrections corner, like a sound bite or soundboard to ease us into the autism.
Well, all right. Well, today we'll have to go in dry.
Excellent.
So first thing I want to say, I didn't get the guy's name because you're trash. You're dead to me. Piece of trash scum, dude. He's saying Sword Girl has boring dialogue.
Dude, he's done. He's done. Like I saw somebody who isn't me was viral marketing for Sword Girl on all the one-page threads, and somebody's like, I just don't really see where this I don't see where this manga can go. And I was like, oh, don't you be talking bad about my Sword Girl. Like, how do you do that? Somebody else had the audacity to go through and be like, he's like, I got to the end of the chapter and I thought it was going to be about the hero dealing with the fact that he killed a girl by pulling the sword out of her head. I was like, are you an idiot? Obviously, that's not what, like, look at this cutesy little manga. Like, you think it's going to be about, like, the deep, dark edgelord of, like, killing a little girl because you pulled a sword out of her head? Like, really?
Yeah, dude, I'm not going to scanlate some edgy stuff. I only do, like, cute little girl stuff. Come on.
Like Made in Abyss.
But, yeah, exactly. I will give the guy credit, though. I don't know if it's the original dialogue that's bad or my translations, but either way, I will take that as a challenge to try to up my quality a bit to the extent that I can. The third chapter that I just put out, I feel like I did kind of rush it, so that one might have been, I didn't feel good about that one when I put it out.
Oh, well, don't tell people that. I don't know. You'll persuade them to think that.
Well, no, because that means the next one's going to be good.
Oh, excellent. So now we're all fired up. We're running on full cylinders.
And then I think I only had one more correction corner kind of thing. If you recall last week, I mentioned a spreadsheet that I have that tallies up score.
In last episode, what was the timestamp for that?
Wait till next week's correction corner. I did not get the timestamp, but I wanted to talk about some of the autism in a bit more detail here. So I did have all Anki stuff has points. Scanlation, each page is 20 points. It's pretty good. Reading a volume of manga is 100 points. Reading a page of a book is like 15. At the end, when I tally up everything, for every Anki review that I have pending that I haven't finished, it's -5 points.
Ooh, every review. So yeah, it's thousands. You're probably in the negatives then, right?
Well, right now I do have a backlog of like 800 Anki cards.
Oh, so what's 800 times 5?
4,000.
Yeah, that's a lot of points.
And the last time I actually did a tally of my current points, I think was like January or February, and I had 15,000. So I'm sure by now, like 4,000 is not much. Anyway, that's enough autism for today, but for the minute at least.
For the corrections corner. Now we're going to move into the main topic of autism.
Oh, I was taking a sip. I thought you were going to keep going with that.
Taking a quickie sippy.
Well, did you want to jump into end pages, or did you want to do that other thing that we were talking about?
So we have an exciting segment that we teased or I mentioned was a possibility in the last episode, and it is us reading your comments, but at what cost? I actually did a clip that says we do that and on the YouTube, and I ripped that from a Nanners video that's like, I read your comments, but at what cost? And obviously, since she is an anime female on the internet, all of her comments are like, let me lick your toes and things like that, and it was it's more disturbing.
Have we gotten any of those yet?
No, we haven't. I mean, you're free to send those. I'm not particularly a foot guy. I don't really understand it. We do have
especially having internet guys lick our toes. I'm not into that.
We actually did get one comment that was flagged for spam, so we'll be reading that. That might be in a flavor that would be more interesting. Our first comment of the week 3 days ago was, you can dox whatever day we're recording this now, is longtime passenger Charlie Saint is back. Thank you for our dedicated listeners, our dedicated passengers. Unfortunately, you are all strapped in to the airplane, and since we are all going to die at the end, we appreciate being a good sport about it. Anyway, Charlie Saint says,
only one of us dies in the end. They only expect one of us in the wreckage, brother. So the rest of us will escape. So the more people that you invite or recommend the show to, I should say, then the higher your chances of surviving, because only one person will be in the wreckage.
Charlie Saint says he would have really liked to see more adventures of the Warabi gang, but oh well. Thanks for scanlating it, guys, and to which we say it definitely ended too soon. And now I personally get my fix from Sword Girl, so that's gonna be the next
hashtag one. Too soon.
Yep. Our buddy, our buddy Nick Kai is back, dropping us a great multiple comments, and he says,
wow.
Hang on, when did I subscribe to an educational podcast?
I don't know when.
Well, never. Yeah, I don't know what podcast you subscribe to, because I don't think.
What do you learn from us?
We would love to take some notes. Let us know what you learned. So, that was from our episode How to Learn Japanese. So that was actually one of the earlier episodes. And Nick Kai.
Oh, that's
also,
a clickbait title.
Yeah, with also dropping a comment on one of our popular videos, which is Best Opie Death God Lowly. He's saying, is BG4U a front for FBI pedo sting operation? But it's just a theory, a game theory is what he says. So
he said that?
Yeah,
that's funny.
So that's a great comment. That to as a throwback, that was the one that got flagged. I think pedo automatically gets flagged for things, but I saw it was Nick. I was like, that's not it. Yeah, probably. So I'll be sure to come back and.
I think officially, we have no comment on that.
No comment is the correct answer. Yeah, we can neither confirm nor deny and I can neither confirm nor deny my CIA affiliations.
Right, of course. Naturally, I'm too big a guy to be CIA affiliated.
For you, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Nick Kai back again with 2 on the next episode of that thing, which was how to actually learn Japanese. Yeah, so episode 5 was how to learn Japanese. Episode 6 is how to actually learn, or maybe episode 7, I can't remember. Anyway, he says, fun fact, I only just started catching up with the podcast today, and my YouTube recommendation already got bombarded. It's like the 4th of July with Japanese class. He says, thanks, Tom. I'm going to master Japanese in 18 weeks. So that's very ambitious. So, Tom, you've got a rival. We hope you'll come and help us scanlate more garbage.
Yeah, we'll have to create an episode on how to recruit, because we don't know how to do that yet, but we'll figure it out if need be.
And then he replied to his own comment and left another thing talking about, he says, also GDI Aiden. I don't know what, I'm not hip, I'm a 60-year-old boomer, I don't know what GDI as an acronym means, but he says, also Aiden, you messed up on convincing Tom to enjoy Senko. She chose Nanako because she met his ancestor back when Senko is still young and falls in love with him. So basically, yeah, so Senko sees the person she loved being reincarnated in modern times and decided to take care of him now that she has, risen up, aged up.
Why?
I'm not sure what he meant there, but what did he mean by this?
Yeah. I don't think they explained that in the first chapter, though. So maybe that's why I didn't know it.
I speed read, so it's hard for me to get that.
You just
But
look at
thank
the pictures.
That's actually makes so much more sense. That like I'm glad you put that.
Yeah.
That actually makes me enjoy the manga more because now I was reading it for cute little fox girls, the kitsunes. Now it's actually more interesting. So actually you've increased my enjoyment of the manga. So thank you, Nick Kai or Nikki. I don't think we've figured that out. I'm sure I'll be saying that forever. That is the end of our. We had one more from FF7, and he said, "You got me thirsty with that thumbnail," and that was the one of the. I mean, you can go and look at our thumbnails; they're all kind of thirsty, and to which I say, "We are all in eternal thirst," is what I replied with. So, thank you for.
What is our demographic that we're cultivating here?
I have no idea, but I like it. Like-minded passengers.
Speaking of like-minded, man, you can't transition. I can't segue from one thing to the next.
Segue. You got to segue.
How do you segue from that into the main topic here of end pages?
Who knows?
I guess we'll just right now. This is it. We've done
This is it. Hard and fast, like going in dry.
So I've noticed here throughout these weeks when I've been doing the Manga Minute that not a lot of groups actually have end pages. So like when I started scanlating, I was certain that everybody had an end page, but evidently that's not the case.
I don't know if like I have a theory on that. So I know some like really highly principled scanlation companies don't like do any of that because they're just like, no, we're just about scanlating the whatever. We don't need to advertise for anything, or it's like they're full and they don't need stuff. But I also think it might be an artifact of like RSS scrapers that don't pick up the first or last or something. Or I'm not entirely sure how that works. I think do you know what I mean by that?
No, I do know what you mean, but I don't think that's the case for me because I've done most of the reading on like manga decks, and I think those are uploaded by the people themselves. I don't know. One of these days I'll actually figure out how manga sites work.
I don't know. That'll have to be a whole nother chapter.
But yeah, I found that interesting because it might be hard to believe, but I'm actually not much of an ego kind of person. I was hesitant at first to even have end pages because it's like it should be about the scans because it's like I'm kind of leeching off of the actual artists in a way. Yeah, translation is content, but I'm not producing. But
here's the deal. This is how I look at it, actually. Doing a free service, a little bit of a tangent, but I'll explain what my point is you're doing a free service, and this is the little bit of recognition you get for doing something for the community. Yeah, you could be an anonymous donor, but you don't have to be. You can get credit for doing something you wanted. I was just in a thread. This is that tangent. I was just in a thread the other day where they're talking about like I'm a translator, but like how do I find a good typesetter and cleaner? Like that's not a normie, and they were like pooping all over.
What?
They were pooping all over like typesetters. They're like, it's so easy. You just pull up paint and like slap text over it. It's like it takes 2 minutes. They won't scanlate anything with blood and guts. They just want to typeset the things that they like. And it's like, yeah, you're not paying them. This is a fun hobby. Like that's like saying like nobody wants to join my Call of Duty clan, and it's like, yeah, okay, if nobody wants to play Call of Duty, they're not going to play your clan. You
see that a lot also in like indie game stuff where people are like, man, I just need an artist, but they only want to work on their games. And like the artists are like, I just want a coder, but they only want to code their own games.
That's exactly that.
Like,
and it's
that's the problem with kind of like online groups.
And it's
that's
like
why you need a leader with an iron fist.
Exactly. And it's like the further on, and it's like, my example was, it's not too hard to make your own little release schedule. And if you think typesetting and cleaning is so easy, why don't you do it? And that's what all the people in the thread called him out on. Yeah. He's like, here, it took 2 minutes, and he popped it up, and it was hideous, obviously. Poorly centered, the font was wrong and things like that. And he didn't clean any of the... He picked a page that didn't have any actual cleaning to do, like redrawing or anything like that.
Of course.
Yeah,
of course,
and even then it wasn't great. And people are like, and then he lied and said 2 minutes. It's like, first of all, your Photoshop isn't going to even load up in 2 minutes. Like by the time you pull all the files together, that's like 5. But anyway, regarding that, somebody pointed out, it's like, okay, that one page took you 2 minutes. Okay, now the actual manga is going to take you 60 minutes. That's like an hour of that. So congrats, you just proved your own point. It's extra work.
Is that why you were asking me the other day how long it takes me to typeset?
Yeah, I was like, if it's going to take, because it's like, yeah, okay, you can train somebody, obviously. It's not like a skill you have to develop, and you don't have to learn Japanese to do it. You don't have to go to a degree to learn Photoshop, but it's a time-consuming work. It's like you can build a fence out in your backyard, but it's going to take you all day. It's going to take you a while to clean and typeset and things like that. It's a legit thing, and I'm not saying that because I typeset. I don't do any of the translating work.
Yeah. Well, you video edit. That takes effort too.
I guess it's similar in that vein. It's like how hard is it to edit a podcast? All you're doing is putting clips together that you recorded, and it's like, well, okay, why don't you sit down and do it? It takes a while.
Right. These are all like quote unquote artistic talents. And that kind of hurts to even say that, but it is true.
It definitely hurt to say that before I started doing things that are considered more artistic. Maybe not artistic, but artisanal would be the word, in the sense where you have to have a quality production, and it's not like all mechanical in that sense. It's a little bit different like that. Anyway, I saw the thread. I thought it was an interesting thing to point out, where it is kind of a misnomer. Somebody even pointed out that it's like the translators are now such a diamond dozen. They used to be the prima donnas of it, because they used to be the limiting reagent, but now the limiting reagent is more or less typesetters. Like, you can find translations for mangas. So in these threads for the popular mangas that come out, so it's like a Thursday thread where somebody will post the raws, and then to the right of them they'll post the translated text, and they're like, hey, does anybody want to typeset this? So it's like translations now are actually more prevalent than people willing to typeset, because it's not like that glamorous, and it is a lot of hard, just time consuming work. And why would you typeset if you could already read Japanese, or if you already saw the language? Like, if you already read it, like, why would you want to go through the effort to typeset it? Yeah, it's a whole, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, typesetting does take a lot of my time. I would say all three take about equal time. Cleaning it takes a little bit less time depending on the complexity of the chapter, but typesetting and translating, I do them at the same time, but they both take a lot of time in their own ways.
Now, speaking of things that take a lot of time, the one thing that's taken me a little bit of time was when we did the advertiser end page for the new manga for Sword Girl, where we actually did a special ad.
I think the ad probably worked. It was a nice looking ad, to be honest. Like, it was impressive.
Well, see, this goes back to the whole thing about end pages, where I kind of zone them out. I know that the first and the last couple, so I speed read through manga anyway, but I know that the first and last couple pages, if they're not like talking about it, it's very easy for me to gloss over. You get the ad blindness type thing, like banner blindness, where you know not to click on the right hand side of the website. What I've seen some people do to get away that is they'll take a page from the manga and then be like, fill in the speech bubbles with their own words, so you just kind of transition into it. Sometimes it's like not exactly obvious, and you'll be like, what, who, what? Like, it'll take me a second to realize.
Really?
That.
Like, it looks like a completely normal page, like a full page?
I've seen that before, where it might be from a different chapter, and it's obviously in a completely different context, but I've seen it. I've seen all different types of end pages. That's one thing that's actually kind of cool. It's never like the same thing, and each scanlation group kind of does their own little deal to see how they want to display end pages, if they do or not. I actually liked, if the passengers want to go look at it, look at the last end of Hyaka no Shirushi, and that's got a cool advertising for Sword Girl, and that's the kind of end pages that I like. It was actually looked like a little bit of an ad. It looked poppy. It almost looked a little professional, but it was just something that was like catching your eye different. Traditionally, we'd just do a little bit of and this is completely to your credit, it's a hilarious reference to some internet meme. I believe the first one was, were all Bane related Bane posts. Now it's
I've been doing it based on the series in a way. So like Antarctic Girls was my first one where I started to do this. That one is Bane posting, basically, because that's the whole joke of our stupid scanlation name. And then I just continue that into Hyaka because that was the gimmick. But then I started to realize that there aren't a whole lot of quotes that you can use when you're Bane posting. Like, there's only so many.
Only so many times you can say "for you."
Well, I haven't reused any joke yet. I try to make a point to not reuse them. And I don't even think I've used "for you" yet. I want to save that for like the end.
Save that for chapter 100.
And then with the current one, Tsurugi no Nai, Sword Girl, I'm using quotes from a TEDx talk called Paradigm Shift 2070. That one's, I guess I'll just tangent into this a little bit, but that one's really tough. The reason that one's so tough is because you have to find like isolatable quotes, right? But so much of that TED Talk is like quotes that rely on the previous and subsequent sentences.
Yeah,
like
it's a full
there are
setup.
Quick, snappy sound bites. Yeah.
It's
really
like a
hard to
stand-up
find
routine.
good isolates. Yeah. Although I think one that would be pretty easy is something like, "We're just gonna kill him." Like that one's short and snappy enough.
We're just gonna gas
And then
them.
I don't think that's. I think it's like 2 chapters from the one that's coming. No, I think it's. Let me get my timeline right. So I think it's not the one coming out the day of this podcast episode. I think it's the next week. But I might use the quote. They're sexualizing young girls, and it's to the point where even I'm not okay with it.
I mean, that fits in
That's my
almost
favorite
every
quote.
manga.
Yeah, it does.
You could tack that on any manga. Yeah.
That quote and that chapter combination is the reason that I decided to go with Paradigm Shift 2070.
What happens in that chapter that makes that?
Oh, they're sexualizing young girls, and it's to the point where not even I'm okay with it.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. So that's
It's
all
exactly
Japan,
what the
basically.
quote is. Yeah. Well, yeah. You and I, in fact, were talking off the air about potential ideas of things that we could quote, right? So one that both of us like to quote a whole lot in our spare time, I guess, in our normie lives, is that Alex Jones rant when he was on Joe Rogan.
Oh yeah,
Where he's
that
talking
is
about
the
like
best.
the pedophile aliens.
Deus Ex.
Yeah, you guys got to look that one up.
I'm gonna clip
Deus
that into
Ex
the
Alex
clips.
Jones.
If you go to YouTube, it's just Deus Ex. That's what it trended as. Like, he doesn't even say Alex Jones. It's just like, you go to search on Deus Ex, and that's it. Like, it's brilliant.
Beautiful. Yeah, that one though has the same problem. I think that 2070 has. It's a huge stream of consciousness. In fact, this one's even worse because Alex Jones only says one sentence, but it's 10 minutes long. So it's really hard to isolate single quotes for that one. So I might not do it.
That's the best way to put it. It's one big sentence, and it's just like, and now the pedophiles have control of the AI. Wait, when did the pedophiles get in control of AI? They rule.
They rule. How do you wait? Hold on. How do you know all this stuff? It's what it is. Well, no. I mean, what are you talking about? Well, I just know, from reading all the sources and
But the thing is,
compiling the data.
like he speaks for, I think it's like, it's like 5 to 8 minutes, but he speaks on like this crazy existential, like epistemological level of like a great biblical battle of demons versus angels and like all types of stuff that would make like the best Constantine sequel movie. At the end of the time, you're like, oh my God, he's absolutely correct. I fully believe he is 100% correct. He's talking about, like, he makes you believe in psychic vampires. You're like, okay, so maybe they're not Dracula. Maybe they're not Dankula. They're like, wow, okay, maybe it's a euphemism or a metaphor. And you're like, wow, I totally believe. I'm totally spot on. Like, I'm rolling with that. I absolutely believe that it's what it is.
Yeah, well, I might try it next time I pick up a new series. I think in the future, though, because I still do want to do that one series that's like 9 volumes long. So I do need to come up with some kind of source to quote that has legs like that. So that's just something to keep in mind in the coming months. Maybe have some passenger suggestions. Just throwing that out there.
And how about an inconvenient anime by Dr. Samuel Hyde?
I still can't watch that. It's too intense for me. Maybe one day I will, but not today. No time soon. So we've kind of mostly just focused on one specific niche for Endpages, which is like the gags. I know you like Rape Man scans because he does really good gags as well.
He does hilarious scans.
Another feature or whatever of Endpages that I really like, and I think I've only done this once, is some kind of translator notes. I got the idea actually from reading My Hero Academy. The scanlator there has pretty much like every chapter there's some kind of note on like a sentence that was like really awkward for him to translate or where he kind of had to take liberties, and he breaks it down and like teaches like grammar points and stuff, and I think that's really cool. And I actually had to do that. Sword Girl chapter 1-2, I think it was. Got a magic spell called Meeple Slide. You remember that? I don't know if you read it or not.
I do actually. Actually, this is the first one that we've released that I actually like. That I actually read. Let me put it that way. I'm
That's
actually
fair enough.
invested in. Yeah.
I had to look this up when I was translating it. They call like these little tokens. It's from the game Carcassonne or something like that. It's like
I
a
have
board
no
game,
idea.
kind of popular.
I only play Pokemon.
It's not technically a board game. This board game is they call their little tokens, their little people, little tokens, the character tokens, I guess. They call them meeple, like Meeple. I think it's my people is what it's like a combination of. So I had no idea. I had to look that up. And it's weird like they reference that in manga, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they use the term meeple in Japan.
Only 90s kids Japs will get this reference.
Yeah. So I think that's a really cool thing to do with end pages. And I know it's not for everybody. Somebody like you who doesn't read manga, you're not going to like take the time to read them. But for me, I like that kind of nitty gritty autism-y kind of stuff.
I like the conjugation of autism.
Well, it had to rhyme.
It's a very subtle form of autism.
I don't even know if it has a meaning, to be honest.
It's like a
But
gerund.
Now it does. No, it's not. That's autisming.
Autism.
Autisming. My favorite activity is autisming. Generally, I record it and then we put it out on YouTube and on podcast feeds.
And Anchor.last effort.
Well, it's too early to plug all that, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's see. This is, I guess, in terms of end pages, I don't have much else more to say, but I do have one thing that you brought to my attention today. Front end pages that not preclude, not predate, whatever. They show up before the chapter. Whatever the word for that is.
Preclude? Preclude would work. Preview.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Preview. They preview.
Well, whatever.
the page.
I think that's a weird, maybe archaic usage, but that's something I've never
Autism.
seen before. Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming that those can only be for like credits and stuff. Like you can't really do like a post chapter kind of thing with like a pre-chapter page, right? Like what form have those taken from what you've seen?
You're gonna have to explain that to me again. It's like what you said the what?
So the end pages before the chapters, right? Like the ones we were just talking about before we started recording.
Yes.
Those can only be used for stuff like credits pages, right? Because the way I like my end pages, they're like gags or they're
And they
like
explain
translator
something.
notes
Right. So
from that chapter, right?
Let's go over what we're talking about a little bit. I just saw a new manga popped up today. It's called Isekai Shokan wa Nidomi Disu, and I purposely pronounce it Disu. So I don't need a bunch of comments on that. But the first three pages when you click on chapter 1 are ads for so the first one is the cover of the manga, but they took up about half of it or maybe a third of it with their staff. This is cat scans. Get it? Cat scans.
And like links.
Yeah, so it's links to that.
I did not get that.
Yeah, I actually just got it when I said it out loud. But it has their links to their Facebook, their IRC, their Discord, their website, and like the 7 people involved that scanlated this chapter. And then it says they have a page that says Cat Scans needs your help. The cat needs your donations to get the supply of mangas, and we also accept puddings with an S too as well. And then it says we're also
I was gonna say it shows a picture of a cat girl sitting in a box and she has a sign like please take me home, pick me up, I guess is more literal.
they even have a third one that says like they're looking for new translators, drawers, cleaners, proofer, typesetters, but that's basically all the same person except for the translator. Like I feel like proofer and typesetter and cleaner and redrawer, like what's the difference between a redrawer and a cleaner? I think we actually talked about that in an episode where it's like there's not a lot of like
Probably.
yeah, like you're gonna spend more time like passing a PSD file to somebody than you will just cleaning it yourself. Anyway, so it was just something to note because I knew we were gonna do this topic today or this week, and I was like, wow, okay. So I started reading this manga, and there's like three end pages at the beginning or beginning pages. It was a little jarring. I was like, wow, okay, that's a lot. But see, that's the type of thing that I tune out normally. If I wasn't looking for things to talk about in this chapter, immediately tuned out. I wouldn't even like. It's just like I scroll right past it. I can only imagine how annoying annoying though that must be for people that don't do the full. So I only read online where I can select things that show all the pages at once, so I can scroll down like one time. I don't have to click all these times. But imagine if you had to do like 4 clicks to get to the start of the chapter. Oh my god, I would be furious by the time I got to the manga, and I probably wouldn't enjoy it. Imagine having to click through a YouTube ad to watch, this podcast. You don't have to, because we're such great people.
We're such great people that we've both been banned from AdSense, so we can't put ads even if we wanted to.
Well, don't tell them that. That removes our moral high ground.
Yeah, but it humanizes us as screw ups.
It makes you understand why we need sponsors. Today's episode is sponsored by. We don't have any sponsors.
Yeah, we're sponsored by our own Endpages.
By Own a Hole. By.
Only if they said free sample.
they pay us in all you can use.
I have to. I might be reaching out to one of these companies.
We're sponsored by Dragon.
Oh, never mind. No.
Sponsored. Let's get some,
I don't want to do the podcast anymore.
I don't want to do this anymore. So it's like I feel like it's a Patrick quote from SpongeBob.
Probably. Everything's a SpongeBob quote.
Oh yeah, they have like every word. Like eventually all the SpongeBob quotes will make Shakespeare.
I believe it, yeah. They have that thing where you type in any sentence and then it like generates Obama saying whatever that sentence is. Like they just like isolated every single word from like different Obama speeches.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
You could do that with SpongeBob.
I'm absolutely
I think
sure
that's
you
real.
could.
But that's a cool concept. Completely unrelated, of course.
We talked about the prologue pages, and we talked about the end pages, the real ones. What else is there to talk about with end pages? I'm gonna
probably not much. I mean,
dead air.
We could say that like another use for these pages, especially these front pages that we were just talking about, is like credits and recruiting. That seems to be the main uses. I mean, I think that's good because like the only problem is I would say maybe like put a date or something on there. Because if you're reading old manga and you're like, whoa, it's like, whoa, dude, they're recruiting. I want to join, but it's like, bro, that was 5 years ago. We're disbanded and dead by now. I don't know if there's a good way to handle that, but I guess it's just up to the reader to be smart.
Well, all of our passengers are smart, but the normal everyday reader leaves much to be desired.
A kid who reads manga.
Speaking of reading manga, do you think it's time to segue into the
manga? That's a 10 out of 10.
Minute. That's a 10.
Let's do it.
Now gonna
great sounds, ASMR.
Yeah. This week we have a special going on because it's always a soft spot in my heart when a manga I like gets an anime. Now I don't really care because I don't watch anime, but I do read the manga, and I'm glad to see the mangaka is doing well. This season, a new anime is coming out for a fantastic manga. It's called Chio-chan's Road to School, which I don't know what the Japanese for that is.
It's actually this week is episode 1, so it should be out by the time you're listening to this.
We're perfectly timing it so that the clip I cut gets a lot of YouTube searches. It'll say all about Chio-chan's anime.
This is called trend surfing, I believe, in which you produce content based on what's popular.
So it's actually called Chio-chan no Tsuruku. Oh god, I can't do that. Can you do that?
What? I don't have it in front of me, but it's Chio-chan walks to school.
So Chio-chan walks to school.
If you search Chio-chan, you'll find it.
Absolutely. And this is an absolutely fantastic manga. So I'll read you a little synopsis here. This manga is the story of a glasses-wearing nerdy bookworm girl on her way to school. And yes, that's the entire premise. As she's not getting to school anytime soon, taking her usual route to school, it becomes increasingly unusual adventure. And all the things get more ridiculous as it carries on. It takes an unpleasant sentiment many can empathize with. She's a little autismo girl herself. The feeling of tardiness and bringing humor into it and, making a hilarious situation to look back on. She goes through all the different types of autistic situations that you would think of. Like, it's like when you're walking with a group of friends and the sidewalk gets a little too thin. Then there's 3 of you and you're walking side by side and it's like, well, so one of you now has to go in the back. And it's like, like that type of relaying things. And it's adorable. And it's done by Kawasaki, Tadaka, something like that. I can't remember his full name.
I don't know.
I'm sure all of our passengers are well versed in his works that are not safe for work. He's
not very Christian podcast.
They're not
appropriate.
Yeah, we can't show that on a Christian manga.
And when I was reading this, I think I got like 2 or 3 pages in, and then I sent you a message. This guy's a hentai artist, isn't he? You could just tell by the way that he draws these very lewd and detailed expressions on everyday situations that don't really warrant it.
Right.
But like you could tell by that level of detail, you're like, something's up with this guy.
I can tell it in the way that people draw eyes, because I feel like that's the number one thing. Like that's the window to the soul, as they say. And I looked at that, I was like, whoa. Okay.
I thought it was more of like, it's more like the blushing and like the mouth, because it reminded me of that shirt design with the ahegao faces all over it.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually looked through that shirt design to see if one of his made it, but I didn't see anything. But yeah, he's got a lot of famous tanks that you can go and you can search out that are someplace that's probably not where this manga's or not where this podcast is hosted. But it's absolutely fantastic. So the first couple episodes like get you situated to see Chio-chan walking to school. You know, she's a big video gamer. She's playing her she mostly
Us gamers, am I right?
Oh yeah, gamers rise up as she's going to school. She's shooting things early on. What I love, there's a great trope where it's like you accidentally fall into being like a badass or falling into a situation where it accidentally goes in your favor. That's basically the whole premise of the delinquent manga Angel Densetsu, which is a fantastic one. I've read that a bunch of times.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, I would do a manga minute on that sometime, but nobody's searching for that, so there's no hits there. But
whatever.
This one's fantastic. This third chapter of Chio-chan, The Bloody Butterfly Effect, where she's walking through an alleyway on her way to school to save time and runs into a delinquent. It's just so funny.
He's like a biker gang member. He's more than a delinquent. He looks like he's actually like a real criminal.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And later on it shows that he is a higher up gang member. She accidentally knocks him out and then knocks his bike over, and he's waking up, and she's just like, well, what do I do if I run? Like, he's gonna catch me anyway. He can see what outfit I'm wearing. He knows probably what school I'm at now. So she just sits on his bike and acts like a kingpin, like, and relates like stories about her playing video game, but like makes it seem
shooting
real.
foreigners like up until like the crack of dawn.
Yeah, like I'm shooting Westerners all evening, and he thinks, you know, obviously because he got knocked out by this little girl that she's like just a demon, and it's absolutely fantastic. So just that early on in the series was enough to get me to keep reading. It was just so entertaining to watch this girl fall through like all these situations. There's one later on that's early. I don't know if you got to this one. I think this was one I told you. This is chapter 4, actually, maybe. I
read 1, 2, 3, and 8 because I had to actually stop reading because I want to watch the anime and I didn't want to spoil it.
Oh, okay.
This is like the first manga minute that I will continue with.
The pre-show is out. It doesn't have the subs yet, but the pre-release for the episode is out right now. You can find it on Nyat Torrents if you want to watch it. But yeah, I have it downloaded, but I don't speak Jap, so I can't figure it out. But like chapter 4, I won't go into all the chapters because I don't want to spoil anything too heavy, but there's a lot of chapters out, 37 chapters plus omakes for a lot of different ones. So you've got a good afternoon reading material. Anyway, chapter 4. It's her and her best friend who are walking to school. They overhear like one of their classmates getting confessed to, and they go to hide, and it's like the other girls walk past, and so they have to pretend to hide. So it's like Chio-chan goes to like kiss her friend, and they pretend to make out while people walk by, and it's like, whoa. And it's like, but it's like it like starstrucks the girl. There's like no like Yuri elements into it. It's so funny because it like destabilizes her, and she like blushes, and she's like, oh. And it's like a throwback later. It's like they're talking with other girls. It's like, oh, it's like talk about your first kiss or whatever. And it's like the two of them are just like, they both go pale like when they're like talking about that. It's hilarious, and the characters are recurring a lot of times, and so you get to see different things. Like our delinquent friend comes back, and eventually he learns that he got punked on, but he takes it really well in stride, and he reforms himself and becomes like productive worker. Wow. And they have like, I guess you'd call it like a crush on Chio-chan now. It's just,
how could you not?
I know, she's adorable, and when she makes those hego faces, like what more do you need? But it's a absolutely fantastic manga.
Yeah, and in fact, I almost don't want to talk about it too much more because I don't want to spoil it for myself even. Like, I don't know what it is about it, but it's really charming, I think is kind of what it is. And it's funny as well.
Which
a
is,
lot of Japanese
yeah.
humor doesn't land for me, but
That's true.
this one does.
Yeah, it is a lot different.
Like,
but I find when it lands really hard. That's how Japanese humor
Yeah.
is with me. Like that, and also High School Boy, Daily Lives of High School Boys is hilarious.
That
But-
was fun.
Yeah, but it's like it's so rare that I actually laugh at anime or a Japanese thing. Like Cromartie High School is one that I actually really thought was funny, but it's so rare. There's so many other things that are supposed to be funny that I just don't laugh at.
Yeah, like for this manga minute, you gave me a few options that you thought would be good ideas. One of them was like some schoolgirls or something where they all had the stupid nicknames. I think it's a comedy manga, but it did not click with me at all. It was very not funny, very boring, and I was upset that, or like I was worried that we would have to go with that one. But then you're like, what about Chio-chan? And then I read it, and I was like, dude, this is good stuff.
That's I'm glad to hear that. See, normally Tom just kind of trugs through whatever I recommend.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to see that you actually found something that you like. Yeah. See, I've been reading this one since like 2017 at least. Like, so I keep up with it. It's absolutely fantastic, and I think it really does. Part of the appeal is his over-exaggerated expressions because he is, a professional Iro mangaka dude.
A professional expression artist.
Yes, that's probably the best way to put it.
He captures human emotion.
Oh God! But even better because they're 2D, and 2D is greater than 3D. But
Sure. You know what? Actually, I was just gonna say one of my friends, one of my 2 or 3 weeaboo friends, he's really into this manga too, and he's been recommending it, to me and the other guys here and there. So now I finally read it. So I don't know. I'll be able to connect with another human on a nerd topic.
And isn't that what this podcast is all about? Bringing people,
Yes.
weebs closer together. It's that human connection, where you're driving to work, you're sitting alone in your room at night. It's a Friday night. We're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. Just put on the podcast, listen to us, and we'll be your surrogate friends. But not even surrogate, because I believe that all the passengers are our good friends. Aww.
That's very heartwarming, and I feel kind of condescending in a way. I mean, I don't go out on Friday night.
I mean, it's not. I don't either. Yeah. I mean, we're recording. Like, come on. You know what the deal is. We're sitting here talking about manga in the evening. Like, we don't have any place to go.
I'm sure there's at least like one Chad who listens, and he's such a cool guy, dude.
Well, we're all
want to be
Chads.
that guy.
All the passengers are so Chads, including ourselves, are so Chads that we don't have to go out and do all that stuff. We've transcended. We are the Chad neat, not the virgin extrovert. We're the Chad neat that, allows us to fulfill our hobbies and our passions to the max, because, the human element is, I don't know where I'm going with this, but you get the idea.
Non-existent. That's the human element, non-existent. I feel like that was a train wreck, which would be a great segue to end the podcast, but we should probably do the where can they find us bit.
Well, where can they find us? I mean, you can always find us on the YouTube, which is popping off. We got just 100 views today. Now, that's crazy. Now, look at it this way. I mean, we are Japan's #1, so over on Japan TV, if you have the cable there, you can find us. We're like prime time. In the West, we don't get a lot. So we have like 400 views on YouTube. YouTube/Big
Wow,
Guy
really?
Yeah, Big Guy 4U, which is the letter or the number 4 and the letter U. And just today, we got like 1/4 of those views. We had 100 views today, which is insane. I know. We're,
That's
pretty soon.
big money, dude. We're #1 trending.
I know. It's #1 in the trending section in YouTube, so you can find us there. You can also find us on anchor.fm/the-flight-plan, which populates to all the different types of RSS feeds, not iTunes because they make you want to pay for that, and not SoundCloud because they also want to make you pay for that. You can find our first couple preview episodes on SoundCloud though, so you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, I use the app Podcast Addict on my Android phone to get all of the RSS feeds, and I think that's a great place to do it.
Yeah, for the scanlation side, you could find me on gap.ai/big guy #4 letter U. I forgot what the Twitter was. I don't use it, but I could if you contact me on it. I think it's Big Guy for You scans, or Manga Dex. You could message me on there, Big Guy for You as well.
if you also do, I do respond to all the comments on the YouTube. I think we're still going forward until we get too many that we can't. That we'll read your comments out loud on the air, live on the air. Welcome to the flight plan. It's it's all the comments that you could ever want to hear.
Right.
Well, with this, you mentioned train wreck earlier, but that's not our MO here. Our thing is plane wrecks. So why don't
yeah, of course.
Why don't I hand over the steering wheel to you while we look at the flight plan and we see that what is it? There's only one person on the flight plan.
No, they expect one of us in the wreckage, brother.
Oh shoot!
And he's like,
I think that's me.
have we started the fire? Yes, the fire rises.
Fire rises for you.
No.
Nah.
You need to watch the scene.
I know. That's I mean, I've seen it before, obviously, and I've seen it multiple times, and I've even seen the meme magic version of it. And I can't just remember.
With the Les Banes or whatever, the plane crash.
Les Banes, yeah. Oh man, I think it's just Le because it's French.
French, yeah. Kono 番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。